In this video, we are going to look at concrete pond in more detail. In this part of this very video, we'll look at what concrete pond is, its advantage and disadvantage. But we've already created a video that have explained the various type of ponds. So if you have not yet watched that very video, go through that very video so that you have a deep knowledge of the various type of pond we have. Concrete pond is constructed with blocks, sand, gravel, and cement. One thing that is unique about this very pond, it is better used to raise fingernails or juvenile. In the construction of this concrete pond, it requires deep knowledge or expertise. Any mistake during the construction of this very pond, it can lead towards leakage. And once there is leakage, it cannot retain water. And the cost of fixing it might even be more expensive than constructing another one. But we are still going to give some basic detail during the last part of this very teaching on how you can get the dimension and the workers that is required for you to be able to have a very good constructed fish pond. If you have not yet subscribed, follow or like our video, please do, so that anytime we drop any video, you will be the first to be updated. The advantage of concrete pond over earthy pond is that it can be constructed anywhere, even at your backyard or by the corner of your house, as long there is space in that land. So, when looking at one of the ponds that you can easily construct in order for you to be able to carry out your fish farming, consider concrete pond. If you live in an urban area where there is no much space available. What we are going to look at now is the factors to consider before the construction of concrete fish pond. The number one thing we are looking at is the location. The location is not a determinant factor because it can be constructed anywhere. If you have a landed property, it can even be constructed in the back of your house, or if you have just small space, it can easily be constructed within that very space. But one thing that you need to consider in the construction now is the space, because the space will determine the number of fish you can stock. If you overstock, that can result to what we call cannibalism of those fishes. Next is drainage system. The drainage system is very crucial in constructing concrete pond. If the drainage system is not good, the waste from the pond can cause nuisance to the environment or community, and it should be well taken care of. The drainage system is where the wastewater flows into when you are flushing out, because in the construction of the concrete pond, you will make use of what we call flow through. When the water enters through one side, that is the inlet, the water will flow out on the other side, which is the outlet. So this wastewater should go into that very place that has been well constructed to receive it, in order for it not to become a nuisance to the environment. Number 3 is the cost. The cost of setting up of concrete pond is more expensive than any other form of pond. it has a longer lifespan than other. So if you are able to construct it very well, it will pay off in the long run. But the initial cost is very, very expensive. So you must take this into consideration as one of the factors before you venture into the construction of the concrete pond for your fish farming. Now, let's look at the advantage of concrete fish pond over other ponds. 1. Easily constructed anywhere. It can easily be constructed anywhere. As we've rightly said, that this very pond can be constructed in your backyard. If you have just small space, you can construct it to the dimension of why you want the pond in that very place. And you should take note when you are constructing that based on the space, so that you will not overstock. 2. Disease can easily be noticed. Once there is any outbreak of any disease, you can easily notice it because it's something you can be seeing from time to time when the fish are not eating well, when there is fin rot or even tail rot or any other form of diseases. You can easily see it even when the fishes even die as a result of disease. 3. Diseases can easily be controlled or managed. The disease can easily be managed. You can easily apply antibiotics or salt baths depending on the severity of that very disease. Even sometimes you can easily apply even your bitter leaf. Your bitter leaf can also be a first line of treatment in a concrete pond. Number 4, it is not easily affected with flood because your source of water is controlled. Because your source of water either come from the well or the borehole. So even though if there is flood, it cannot affect it easily. Number 5, it lasts longer than any other pond. It lasts longer than any other pond, but it's expensive to construct, but it has longer lifespan than any other pond. And number 6, which is the last one we are going to look at, is that it is better to manage fingerling or juvenile, because once you bring them, you'll be able to nurture those fingerling or juvenile in that very pond, because you see to the day-to-day activity of how these fishes are growing. With this very one, you can see that there is a lot of advantage of constructing a concrete pond. Now, let us look at the disadvantage of concrete fish pond. As it has its own advantage, it also has its own disadvantage. The initial cost of construction is very expensive because you have to get some good numbers of blocks, you have to get cement, sand, gravel. You also have to still get other things that is required, like the pipes that is needed to run this very water, and also to get the place where the waste will be draining to. So when you put all this into consideration, the cost of constructing a concrete pond is very expensive. 2, large volume of water to run. You require a large volume of water to run because you'll be changing the water twice or thrice every week. And the source of your water may either be a borehole or a well, but preferably borehole is best, because when it is dry season, the well water level can become very shallow, whereby you will be suffering of water. But if it is borehole, the water is certain to be running all throughout the year. And lastly, which is the number 3, wastewater can become nuisance if not well managed. If you don't have a proper place where the wastewater is being drained to, and you allow it to just flood the environment, it can cause environmental pollution or nuisance. So please take care of that drainage system. In this very last part of our teaching, as I've earlier stated, let's have a little basic knowledge on how to construct concrete fish pond. The area we are looking at is how to raise 1,000 catfish. How to raise 1,000 catfish. What is the space required? 12 feet by 12 feet. When I say 12 feet by 12 feet, I mean the length is 12 feet and the breadth is 12 feet. And it should have 4 feet deep. Because when you start filling the water should be able to get up to 3 feet. This will enable the fish to move around, swim very well, eat very well, and also the temperature to be well regulated. So you give this very dimension to your bricklayer. So if you give this very dimension to your bricklayer will be able to tell you the exact block, concrete, cement, and other material that is required. And also let your plumber know that there should be a source of inlet of water and outlet. So the inlet water will flow from one side and the outlet water will flow out from the other side. You should also have a good source of water, either well or borehole, but preferably borehole, because during dry season the well level of water will drop, but that of the borehole will not drop. So ensure that you target borehole, but if there is no borehole, you can also as well use your well in order to run this effectively. Another thing you need to consider also is the soakaway or the reservoir where the wastewater will be flowing into. So if you are constructing the soakaway, for example, it is only the area where you will lay your block. They should put the concrete, while other places should be left open, so that as you drain the water into it, it will drain into the ground. So with that very one, you not have challenge of how the water will be drying up on time, because you'll be flushing the concrete pond twice or thrice every week, and it has a lot of volume of water. So with that very one, you have a very successful fish farm.